Hey guys, this is Nitesh and we're back with some more Magic 2015. Now, before we get started, I gotta address a bit here. First off, sound quality. Frankly, all the stuff I have to address comes down to the fact that I installed Windows 8.1 on my computer, and it's led to some much more easy to handle technical issues. So, the first problem is that the microphone that I was using no longer works. Now, that means that right now, what I'm using for sound is the camcorder that I started recording my vlogs with. I'm recording my sound with that. I'm actually a lot closer to it, so I'm not actually sure how it's going to sound. But the other thing is that in all my testing to make sure things are working, I wound up getting hold of a bunch of extra cards. So I'm going to start this out by going through the changes to my deck. Just because you guys didn't get a chance to see it. You guys don't really know quite as well what happened with the deck now. So, we've got the 2 Death Cultists, 2 Child Knights, you know, pretty standard stuff. However, I was able to get a hold of 2 more Tributes to Hunger. So, I have 3 now. So I have 3 instant speed removal spells that gain me life. So that is going to be incredibly useful. I was able to bump it up to 4 Necromancer's Assistant, which has been an all-star in this deck. It helps me fill up my graveyard, and it's a 3/1, which is really kind of difficult to deal with. Got 2 Bloodflow Connoisseurs. I think I have a 3rd. Hang on. Pretty sure I have, oh, I have a 3rd and a 4th Bloodflow Connoisseur. However, this is a lot better at just clearing away stuff that I had to play just to get a board presence early on. But in terms of actually just strong on its own, it's not as much in this deck. Still got the 2 Mind Rods. I don't really want to add this 3rd because it doesn't really do quite enough, and I've cut it down to 1 Flesh to Dust. I've got the 3 Tributes to Hunger. I don't need too many of these. This is a little on the expensive side. Moving on. That's a little too far moving on. We've got Prey Upon, which allows me to use my creatures as removal spells. Especially good with these guys. It's a 1 mana removal spell that also helps me fill up my graveyard. I bumped it up to 3 Timberland Guides, which, you know, even if I just play it on its own, it's a 2/2 for 2. That's competent enough. Satyr Wayfinder lets me fill up my graveyard and not miss any lands. Titanic Growth, you know, that's a decent-sized boost. I also managed to get a hold of another Elder of Laurels. So this is great. I've got a card here that lets me really capitalize on the creatures that I already have. We've got Cultivate, which I don't think I got a hold of another one yet. Nah, I didn't get a hold of another one yet. Then there's Primal Hunt, Hunt the Weak, you know, some more removal here. And Spider Spawning, bumped it up to 3. This has basically been the linchpin of this deck. It's really very difficult to deal with just a sudden field of enemies. Something with trample can handle it. But the flashback means I can just play it again. Nemesis of Mortals, again, an all-star in this deck. Frankly, I want to get a hold of more Satyr Wayfinders and more Nemesis of Mortals. I could probably do with one more spider spawning. But beyond that, I do kind of like where this deck is going. I like the sort of removal I have. I like the fact that I've still got a strong board presence. You know, I haven't quite gotten the speed and strength up, but, you know, 5 stars with control basically means I have the speed and strength I need to win the game. Synergy, I don't really know what it wants with that. This has got some real graveyard synergy. Now granted, it could have more, but I don't really have the cards to do more. Now, as for the stuff that I'm not using, a lot of this stuff is stuff that would be great in a different deck. Like Tormented Hero. I would love to use that in a different deck. It would basically be, I would play Tormented Hero, and then I would just kind of leave it hanging out here. Walking Corpse I actually had in this deck, but I cut it because it really just wasn't doing enough. And we got Sanguine Bond, which I would love to use in this deck, but I don't actually gain enough life that it would actually be useful. Rescue from the Underworld, again, I'm not really focused on reanimating my creatures. If I was, I would definitely consider it. Flesh to Dust, you know, I've got 3 copies of a 3-mana removal spell. This is a lot more definite, but it's also 5 mana, and I don't really want to increase the amount of mana I need in this deck. This is the big... This card is a real shame, because I would love to use it. It's just... this deck can't really use it very well. Gristlebrand. 4 black, 4 colorless. Flying, lifelink, 7/7. Pay 7 life, draw 7 cards. That is a ridiculously powerful effect that my deck just can't take advantage of. I cut the Spire Tracers because I never even drew them. I couldn't really justify keeping them in here when they really just never even came up. Advocate of the Beast I cut because it didn't actually interact with anything. I have 1 beast in this deck. Yeah, I have multiple copies of it, but this was only really good because of that 1 card. And when I got better 3-mana stuff to play, you know, why waste my time with this one that doesn't really do anything? Grave Bramble. This one I really want with a different deck. This I would want in a Green Devotion base deck, but I don't have enough Devotion cards, so I can't really go for that. Nylea's Disciple, again, Green Devotion. And there's Howlgeist, which I like this card, it's just I don't want to play something that expensive. So, I also threw together a green-white deck, which I don't really do as much with it. It's basically just like keep stuff from getting through, gain a ton of life, and, you know, basically it's weenies. It's a lot of really small creatures that I pump up huge, and Phytotitan, and Hellgeist, and I've got cards like Siegeworm and Sarnath of Masses that, you know, they've got Convoke, so they can be huge the bigger my field is. I have Mentor of the Meek, where when any of my, like, small creatures come in, I can just pay 1 extra mana and just refill my hand. Or at least draw 1 or 2 cards, depending on how many of them I have. But, I mean, think, if I have both of these out, and a Mausoleum Guard dies, 4 mana, I draw 4 cards. So, I'm still sticking with my black-green. I kind of think that one's a bit stronger. But I recall with the last episode, the game kind of crashed out in the middle of a match. So, now that we've gotten that bit out of the way, let's take on a Hydra. I'm not going to do the voice thing because the camera doesn't have a good enough microphone to really be able to take advantage of that. So, I think I already did this last time too, so I'm just going to move on to the game. So, let's see. Okay. Alright, I can live with this. Crap, they're on the play. See? Never mind, things are turning out a bit better than I was expecting. Yep. Scourge of Skull Vale. Comes in as a 2/2, and it can eat his other creatures to get even stronger. You know, I'm gonna just let him keep going. Basically, I want to see this guy play into these tributes to hunger. Feral Hydra. This has such a weird other ability. Like, yeah, I can make it stronger. I don't know why I would actually want to do that, but I can if I want to. Let's see. No, actually, I am going to let him keep going. This is kind of a mid-range deck, so you don't typically want to give them a chance to build up, but I have the card supply to actually deal with it. Okay, let's see. So, this will be a 3/3, and I would basically have to kill it immediately, or at least profitably block it immediately. Okay, so we go Forest, Necromancer's Assistant, and then, so let's see, what do I got here? Nothing. No, that sucks. Okay, Timberland Guide. And yeah, that's it. I don't really need to do much else. Hero's Bane. That could be problematic. Or not. Okay, just gonna continue that. I'll just skip the attack and continue. Just gonna go flush to dust on that. Oh, good, another one. Okay, how do I want to do this? Let's see. 6. That will still leave me kind of short. And still no creatures in there. Okay. So, gonna tap that and just pay for the rest of the mana. Boundless Realms. I don't think I've ever actually seen that card used. But I'm gonna get 7 more forests. Okay, so I think the big thing that's gonna save me is that this guy doesn't have trampled. So start with that. One creature. Great. Okay, so attack with both of these. Okay, if you want to take my 5. But you've helped me fill up my graveyard, so I'm not really complaining. Okay, so that's gonna block there. And that we're gonna block there. You just pulled out 7 lands. How did you still top deck a land? So, let's see. Oh, sweet. Well, it took me 2 mana to do that. I got this one. This is going to be incredible. Okay, seriously. Gotta check this out. Okay, now that it's a 16/16, sacrifice it and give me life. And then I'm going to monstrosity that. And swing for game. Sweet victory. Okay, so let's see what I get from this one. Titanic Growth, that'll be potentially useful. Oh, Brimaz! Hell yeah! This thing is incredible. 3 mana, 3/4 with Vigilance. Doesn't tap when I attack with him. Whenever Brimaz, King of Oreskos, attacks, put a 1/1 white cat soldier creature token with Vigilance on the battlefield attacking. Whenever it blocks, put a 1/1 white cat soldier creature token with Vigilance on the battlefield blocking that creature. So, really, it's like I attack with 4 power and block with 5 toughness and 4 power, and if you ever let me do that unopposed, I will just overrun the field. Now, we've also got Leon and Snarecaster. Whenever it enters the battlefield, I can tap a creature. Another Nylea's Disciple, which, you know, unfortunately I just don't have the deck together yet to use it. Traveler's Amulet. I'm not gonna use it immediately. I just don't really have as much of a reason to right now. I don't have a problem getting my land. Alright. So,